All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Small Talk on the Mats. My next guest is the general manager at Jackson Wink MMA Academy and the president and director of business development at Jackson's Worldwide Sports Management. He has an incredible, extensive background in mixed martial arts, including earning his black belt under Carlos Gracie Jr. and Roberto Tusa Alencar. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you today, Michael Lyubimov. How you doing, bro?
Good, good. How are you? Thanks, man.
Good, good. Thank you, thank you. It's exciting to have you on here. I've been wanting to get here for a while, as you can see. But we'll jump straight into the questions. I categorized them so I stay on topic. So we'll jump first into the topic of personal journey and background. So the first question to start this off is, how did your journey from Russia to becoming general manager of one of the world's premier MMA camps begin?
Um, yeah, thanks for the question. Thanks for having me. I mean, it's been a long journey. I came to America when I was 15 years old by myself, honestly. So it wasn't when the whole journey started. So I was kind of here for a while, trying to figure out how my life will go. And I mean, I've trained martial arts for most of my life. I did some sambo in Russia and did some gymnastics and and then I came by myself to America when I was 15. So, and then I was mostly on the East Coast and trying to figure out my life. Honestly, I didn't have much support, and it wasn't very easy. But then I went to the United States Navy. Trained, work, pretty much normal life, nothing as crazy. And then but since I came to America, I came in about 95, 96, as that's when like the UFC blew up and kind of it was more like on VHS tapes, right? I started watching it. It's like the UFC one. I think they started 1993 or something, but then it was like more on the ground, and then it got caught up to people, right? And then
Yeah,
remember, I don't know, I'm not sure how old you are, and if you remember the Blockbuster stores and the video stores where people actually had to go and get the
yes.
VHS tapes, and that was used to be the way, to spend some of your time on a weekend, browsing the aisles of different videotapes and VHS tapes, and that's how I came across, like somewhere in some small little shop. Um, the UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, like, and I just started watching them all, and then I just got hooked. Who wouldn't, like if you like combat
Right.
sports? At that time, I was not even, like so super big into it. I was trying to figure out my life, um, and then I started watching it with my friends, and then it turned into watching Pride, and I remember staying up all night till like 4 o'clock in the morning for the Japan to show, it was on cable boxes. We had the cable box, and you would like, a lot of them were jailbroken cable boxes. I'd go to my friend, stay up all night, and just watch Fyodor Emelianenko. And because I was from
Yeah.
Russia, obviously, I was a big fan of Russian martial artists at that time. But then I remember watching, like Overeem, like a lot of, again, Russian fighters, Fyodor, Sergei Kharitonov, Nagara brothers, and just like Bundle Silva. You remember all this stuff, right? Back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, and they used to show actually the backstage shenanigans, right? Like almost like UFC Embedded does. And then I always, it's like, that's why I always say to people, it's that the life works in mysterious ways. And I'll be honest to God, like I always said, even if I don't end up, I always wanted to be a fighter or fight or compete and stuff, It just, the
Hmm.
life prevented me from doing a lot of things at a young age. And I always said, like, how cool would that be to be a part of some like backstage or like part of the sport in general, right? Because I was
Yeah.
captivated by watching the videos and what the guys did backstage and different camps and how they operated. Follow like the Lions Den back in the day. The military systems, like Greg Jackson, right? All that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I'm running the gym that has Overeem training in it, and John Jones right in front of me, sparring Overeem, let's say, and who's of who, Cowboy and Donald Sanchez, I mean Diego Sanchez, and I mean, you name it, you know about the camp, right?
Yeah.
So the way it actually happened is I was in car business, and I was training jiu-jitsu, doing all these things. I was doing pretty good, but it wasn't enough for me, and I didn't like I've been always like in decent executive positions. Like I worked myself up to good positions and was making good money, but it was like all day long, from 7 in the morning to late at night, crazy hours, a lot of like pretty much sales all the time, dealing with a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And different kind of environment, and I got so tired of it. I'm like, the life got to be so much more fun. Like, there's got to be something much more interesting that I could be doing than, just let's say car sales. Even though I was running in dealerships, like in the internet department or whatever, real good money. But then there was a Hansa Gracie right behind me, behind the dealership. I was in a BMW dealership at the time, and then I started training there. I already had martial arts background, but I started from the bottom, as most people do, right? No matter where they come from, I started as a white belt, and I mean, this was game over. I got hooked, and then I sold the car to one of the Russian people that came into me from Russia, and we started talking about things. And I mentioned something about MMA, and they're like, "Oh, it was in New Jersey, and they like we just started our management company." And guess what? One of the first fighters that they brought to America was Khabib Nurmagomedov, Aslan Amagov, Rustam Khabilov, Timur Valiev, like the first wave of Russian fighters,
Yeah.
and they were all training in New Jersey. So,
Okay.
and I sold them a 7 Series, so they were driving around very nice, expensive car. And they're like, we just like, and they just started. Khabib wasn't Khabib yet. It wasn't a Khabib yet. Nobody. He was just coming up, and and then before you know it, I'm traveling all around the country, traveling all around the world, going to Brazil with Rashid Magomedov, going with all these Magomedovs, not Magomedovs, all a bunch
Yeah.
of badass Bellator and UFC fighters from Russia, world champions, and I'm like backstage hanging out with them, helping them because a lot of them didn't speak English, and they didn't drive, they didn't know what was going on. Literally right from the mountains of Dagestan into like America, and they had a lot of culture shock. So, and they found me very helpful, and again, I started going traveling with them to different camps, and that's how I ended up in Albuquerque. There was, I think the first one was Adlan Amagov. He was from Chechnya, Boers, the original Boers before Chimaev was even around. Adlan Amagov is who was like literally the first Chechen fighter in UFC,
Yeah.
and I came second time, and that time Coach Winklejohn was started opening up this new gym, and we had good conversations, and I was looking to kind of like nothing was really holding me back in New Jersey, and before you know it, we're like, hey, I was looking for a new general manager, and here we go. 10 years later, I packed my things over there in New Jersey and drove for like 30 hours. My wife was still there, go finishing school, and then relocated here, bought a house, and I became Albuquerque resident. I really like it here. Really do. I like the climate, the weather, and obviously the gym is what makes
Yeah.
me really happy. So that's pretty much the
That's
journey.
awesome.
I don't know if it was
That's
too long.
awesome.
Yeah,
No, that's a good story. That's a good background. I like it. That's a good way to break the ice.
yeah.
So, so my next one is, as someone who's competed for most of your life, what fuels your passion for martial arts today?
Well, today I am older. I'm 46, so I am pretty broken in a lot of ways. I've been having for the past 4 years major back problems, even though they're not really major, but it's a long story. I don't want to get into it, but uh, just being at that gym is what fuels me, right? Like now I'm in a different position of growing the next generation of talent. I would consider myself that I carry the gym on my back, of course, outside of Coach Winklejohn and Greg Jackson, right? So I'm like third in line, I would assume.
Yeah.
And we, I would say second in line because Greg and Wink are kind of like, they're one, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's one one
Yeah.
one one unit, right?
Yes.
So I'm there to support them. I'm there to trying to put our gym back on the map. It's a little harder now because of the amount of competition out there with Vegas, with UFC Performance Center. There's a big influx of money going into the sport, right? The sport grew to mega proportions now. You know that you follow.
Hmm.
So it's became very hard to compete, honestly, because Albuquerque is somewhat secluded. There's not much to do, right? We have a lot of crime, poverty, homelessness, right? So
Hmm.
it's not the ideal place for people to relocate here, because most people trying to go to Vegas because there's a lot of star power over there. Um,
Mm.
just like it used to be at this gym, even though we still have a lot of Gable Stevenson here, Holly's always there now, Steve Garcia, top eight, so we're still in the rebuilding phase of trying to develop new generation because, as you know, the gym became very famous on the local talent, right? I mean, we're talking about Holly Holm, right? Carlos Condit, John Dodson, Diego Sanchez, Damasio Page,
Yeah.
Jody Escobar, like all the local talent, right?
Right.
So, and then everybody retired, right? So, and it's a lifetime journey to become Carlos Condit, right? That's 30, 45. We got Diego Brandao now coaching 60 some fights, right? So it's like, uh, the gym is famous as it ever was. It's a very powerful. Coaches are there still all the time. Greg Jackson, Mike Winkeljohn, but there's so much competition. My friend, now every state, every country has mega gyms and champions. If before, even though we have about 50, 60 people live at the gym all year long, and still people coming from every part of the world, right? Because everybody wants to stay in America, and
Right.
um, so but before, if like people would come from Australia or New Zealand like in droves, right? Like it would be like 15 people, 20 people like a year. Now let's say they have city kickboxing over there, right? So they have no reason because they have Desani over there and stuff like that. So, and
Mm.
the way the history played out is, as they call Greg Jackson, the godfather of MMA coaching, right? So
Yes.
everybody learned from what we're doing. So like almost majority of gyms that you look at, all of them, some way, some form, shape, or form, came through Jackson Winklejohn and trained here and learned from this gym, and then went on to open up and create their own gyms. So,
Hmm.
but what fuels me is trying to get back. Like it's like, there were glory days. Again, like my good analogy is with Chicago Bulls, right? You have Michael Jordan, right? 6 straight years of nonstop, world championships, and then boom, the team kind of is not the same team anymore. But it doesn't diminish what they've done and what they've created, right? So it's a legacy. Same thing with
Yeah.
Jackson Winklejohn, like we've had the UFC belt probably from the beginnings of the gym, right? Like we've had how many 20 some UFC championships, and over 40 something world titles in different. Holly Holm herself 18 world titles doing boxing, but we're talking major ones, right? I mean, it's a mega gym. It's something that brings so much pride to Albuquerque and to New Mexico. So my goal is, and again, to answer your question, what fuels me is to hoping and trying to cultivate talent, to bring new talent, to develop new talent, to grow the new talent, and get us back where we can have, again, two, three top 10 fighters in each weight class in the UFC. But again, it's becoming much, much more difficult without the funding. Without the
Yeah.
funding, and we barely get any support from New Mexico, Albuquerque, honestly, which me being an outside of Albuquerque who became a resident here, it pisses me from the bottom of my heart, honestly, that
Yeah.
you have an iconic place here, and I always kind of vent my grievance in regards to that because it's like how do you not support such a like, you go anywhere else, what is New Mexico known for? Breaking Bad, Balloon Fiesta once a year, but we compete all year long, all around the
Right.
world, constantly. Holly Holm is fighting in Puerto Rico for a world championship title next month. So it's like,
Hmm.
we brought Gable Stevenson here, an Olympic gold medalist. Why would he come here? Who would he come here for? You know?
Exactly.
And absolutely zero support from New Mexico government or Albuquerque, which is just like makes me just furious. Like, imagine if
Oh
they were,
yeah.
I mean, they're wasting and spending so much money on so much crap instead of cultivating talent and putting like MMA is a pathway for a lot of young men into professional sports, into so much. And it's such a difficult sport. You competing yourself, like there is no money at the bottom, right? The guys got to work, they got to do this, and there's so much talent out there, and the guys just quit. We support so many fighters, we sponsor so many fighters because a lot of them are young kids who are lost in life, right? Like they don't know, they say they don't have education, they're having a hard time in life, they might not have parents around or any financial support, and they always fall on our lap, right? Because they always want
Yeah.
to watch its most popular sport among the younger demographic, right? So, and they're all
Yeah.
knocking at my door 24/7, brother. I have a phone. My phone doesn't stop ringing, and I mean, like 24/7, thousands of emails, messages, DMs. We're talking from all around the world, right? Because everybody want to come to America, not just from here, right? It's from every part of the world, from Russia, from Tajikistan, from Uzbekistan, Dagestan, Africa, you name any part of the world, I get messages from every single day.
Crazy.
People begging to come here. Because when people look up, like, what are the best gyms in America, right? Who can get my career going? Who comes up, right? Who comes up?
Yeah.
Select few, right? Select few. But
Yes.
again, they come to Albuquerque. I got this, like, I'm Russian, right? I have some badass Russians living in the gym, but they have hard time with jobs. There's no jobs. There's no support. There's no jobs. And they end up leaving or giving up in the career, moving, going driving a truck or going driving, doing construction and
Mm.
stuff like that. And those guys, I have a guy in there right now that I'm managing. We're fighting. Fortunately, we've been busy. He's got 250 fights. 250.
Wow.
He's been fighting. He's from mountains of Chechnya. He's been fighting since he was like 5, 6 years old. Is stud. Like, you don't, like, they don't make very rare talent, but you need to cultivate it. You need to spend money on these guys. You need to keep them here. You need to make them happy, right? It's a
Right.
future of New Mexico. They bring a light on this state. And what do I know? So.
Yeah. Yeah. The government's a whole different story, but that's so. How has your U.S. Navy background influenced your approach to discipline, structure, and leadership within the academy?
Say it again. Repeat the question, please.
Yeah, for sure. So, how has your U.S. Navy background
Oh,
influenced your approach to discipline, structure, and leadership within the academy?
yeah, brother, just discipline. I mean, it's a lot of the words that you being used, right, are being overused too often, but they do have a meaning, right? Like discipline, everybody's like, oh, you must be disciplined, but like, what other use can you possibly, what other words can you possibly use, right? Like, a discipline, really, because when you're dealing with a lot of young fighters and guys like that, like, they're not disciplined. Like, they've never experienced discipline. We even have a sign in the gym. You clean after yourself. Your mama doesn't live here. You know what I'm saying? Because they're a
Right.
bunch of knuckleheads. And I'm not scared to say, like, we always thought, a bunch of pigs, young guys that don't clean after themselves. They always, imagine a lot of fighters, like, they leave home, they go fly on their own, 18, 19 years old. They used to have mama cleaning after them, living at parents' house. Now they end up in dorms, you know, they never been taught, and then what's right, what's wrong. And we kind of sometimes take on the parenting um, role model, right, where we have to teach them. And we're not always successful because you can only do so much. But then truly, we are not their parents, right? It's like, I always say, like, why do we have to take care of you? Like, why aren't you working? Like, why aren't you paying your bills, right? Because this gym is not a freaking community center. It's a huge overhead. We got to
Yeah.
pay. and stuff like that. And a lot of them have a hard time with that. They cannot hold on to jobs and everything. So that's where my discipline comes in, and kind of like my motivational role of being older and kind of myself being in the same boat back then. But I learned from, that's why that's why they always, in majority of countries, right, they respect elders, right, which we don't have in this
Yes.
country. We don't have in this country. Like in Chechnya or Russia or a lot of places, elderly walks in, people stand up, like major respect, and they listen because those people already lived through all of it. They've been through all of it. I've been through all of that. This guy's been, the majority of it, right? Everybody has their own story, but that's why, like, the discipline and me, all the life experiences that I had, just I try to pass it on to these guys, but damn, they piss you off sometimes, right? Because some of them just don't listen. It's like people come, a lot of the guys are from the hood, and they've been to jail and been this and that, and they've been kind of thrown out there into the streets, and so I freaking carry a gun all the time because, like, I'm like, people are like, what do you do? I'm like extract money from fighters. I'm like, that's a dangerous job, bro, on its own. So, like, I always got to watch my back. I've been threatened. I've been
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm always in the fight, because we always have to kick people out because not every person is a good person, honestly, and it's such a popular
Right.
gym that, yes, it attracts a lot of great people, but then at the same time it attracts a lot of weirdos,
Mm,
I get messages, emails, and we got stalkers coming to the gym, letters, calls from somebody who want to fight John Jones, or like,
oh man.
they're in love with Holly Holm. They're stalking her outside. It's like nonstop, bro. So, like, my job entails pretty much keeping the house safe as much as I can. So it's like nonstop, bro. And the gym is open 24/7 all the time, right? Because people live here, and we have a doctor's
Yeah.
office, Dr. Bo Hightower, and so it's kind of like the Navy background kind of taught me how to stay more stoic, calm under pressure. Yeah, we'll flip out once in a while and things like that because there's a lot of pressure, and
For
it's
sure.
hard to carry everyone's dreams on your own shoulders because a lot of these young guys, they want to be the next John Jones, they want to be the next guy, right? And all looking up to you to make their dreams come true. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's why I started the management program, to help the guys build, to help the build. Before we just trained them, now we're actually building them. Before we had all these different management companies would come in, pick on the talent, like I want this guy, I want this guy, and then bounce out, right? That's how a lot of the management companies became big, is off of our backs, of our gym, because it'd be like, you know, who's this guy? He's John Jones. Okay, you can work with him, whatever. We'll train him, you manage him, okay? Because we never focused on it. And then when I got here to Albuquerque and I saw how we were losing so many fighters to others, to Vegas or to um, Florida, or to, at that time, Mark Henry in New Jersey, where Frankie Edgar was. Like, so we saw that happen. I'm like, no more, man. We got to shut that down because, like, why are we sponsoring these guys, cultivating this talent, investing hours in this, and then some manager comes in who doesn't even know these guys, promises them the world, and then before you know it, their careers are ruined, or they disappear, they go away, and all our effort and our money and everything we've done for that person for years is just gone.
Yeah.
So, like, I have to put, yeah, because it's unforgiving business. It's very dirty business. It's it's people, always think the grass is green on the other side. So if they'll drop you in a second. There's a lot of loyal people. I'm not saying that, but because it's a lot
Yeah.
of the big gyms are such a big revolving doors, so that people bounce all over the place, try and find themselves, and that's why I'm like, well, hey, you want to be here? You need fights? We got you. We've provided for the past like 2 years since I started the management company over 1,000, over 1,500, yeah, like close to 1,500 fights.
Mm,
So, and I have a good team of people that getting fights for the guys, and we're building them. But the thing is that it's like, hey man, if you want this, like, put me on the contract because we've been burned too many times. A lot of people think and say all the time, which kind of makes it like, well, what do you need a manager for? Like, what, just to pass on the paper? Just like, especially the guys that get to UFC. But I'm like, yeah, but what about the road to UFC? Like all these knuckleheads that talk stuff. I was like, what do you need a manager for? Like, do you understand that 18, 19 years old, they can't even clean dishes after themselves? You know what I'm saying? Which will
Yeah.
like kitchen's always dirty and we throw out to the trash. You think these guys are capable of finding a fight, negotiating even contract at the lower level?
Right.
Do you know how many fighters wait till last minute and we have to like grab them by their neck and say like, hey bro, you gotta finish your freaking medicals or the fight will fall through. You know, you trained
Yeah.
a month and a half, you knew about it, month and a half, you know you need to make weight, you know you need to do physical, you need to know you need to the eye doctor, here's where you go, here's where you call, here's where you schedule appointment, blah blah blah. You think how many you think these knuckleheads can freaking figure it out? And then
Yeah.
and
No.
then and then yeah, but I don't have money for physical. Okay, bro, here's $200. Okay, I don't have money for this. I'm unemployed. I don't have a job. I don't have support. Blah, blah. So we end up giving the money away. Then these guys end up, let's say, if they end up in UFC on bigger leagues, and then you hear all these knuckleheads online talking about like what you need a manager for, what you need a manager for.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like what you need a manager for? Just like it's so easy, but how do you think the guy ended up there to begin with? Just like what?
Yeah.
You know, got 11, 12, 13, 15 fights before you've even noticed them. And then us begging these promoters to put them on their cards, travel all around the country, all around the world, making absolutely zero money, right? Because the fighter is making at the lower level 500, 500. Our
Yeah.
commission if he wins is $100. Well, we spent like $500 on our own trip because promoter only
Mm.
pays for one coach, and but we got to go. Or we got to travel and drive to Houston, Texas for 17 hours. People don't see that side of everything, right? They just see the guy
Right.
some kind of manager drama. Is like, hell, you need that. Yeah, like when the manager already made it, and the manager is big and he has 100,000 people, like like, yeah, maybe, and they got lucky because I believe there's a huge monopoly on management. With UFC, there's only like three big sharks operate within the waters, and they kind of like making it so much harder for other ones to break through. But,
Yeah.
that I do not like. But regular up and coming managers or guys that are trying to build talent and stuff like that, it requires a lot. It was
Oh, I'm sure.
plus a lot of the managers that started back in the day, the ocean was wide open. There was not that many. So you had direct path, right? That's why you see a lot of big management companies with so much talent because they have such a big entry into UFC. And UFC itself is a monopoly, right? Where else do you go? Where else?
Yeah.
So it's all about who you know and things like that. So it's really, really getting much harder. That's why I'm always praying that there's be good, some kind of good other organization that comes through, which is PFL, right? Like restructuring right now. But before it was so many more, like PFL, Bellator. Now if PFL is
Right.
doing good, it's just two. Honestly, if you think about it, there's only two major promotions that fighter can make decent money on. And that's not even decent money to live on, right? If you're at the lower level, think about it. So
Okay.
it's people don't realize all the ins and outs of it.
Yeah. A
It's
lot of people don't see behind the scenes for sure.
a very, very, very hard business to get to. 0.1% of fighters, even if they touch even close to UFC, and then that 0.1% that makes it to UFC out of thousands of fights. I mean, we have
Yeah.
between 5 to 10 fights every weekend all around the world, different promotions,
That's
and
crazy.
they have one goal and only one goal in mind. I've seen so many dreams die, bro. Then actually, you know, for each person that gets to UFC, it's like holy smokes, especially the people that are under you. It's people think it just happens magic, like just overnight. No. And then
Yeah, for sure. No.
by the time you get to UFC, you got to cement yourself in there, right? It's like you lose 2, 3 fights. See ya. There's like 700 other guys in there now with the contender series of a new Paramount deal. The last year, this year when they did contender, they signed like 5 people on each contender show. 5.
Mm.
They don't even know like what to do with them, honestly. Which I
Yeah.
don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right, so we'll jump into your training philosophy and your martial arts background now. So, as I mentioned earlier, you're a Gracie Baja black belt under Carlos Gracie Jr. and Roberto Tu Salencar. So, what were the biggest lessons that they instilled in you?
I just, man, love for the sport. I mean, just the passion. Like Tusa is such a passionate person that you Gracie Barra, aren't you?
Carlos and Gracie.
Oh, you're constant Gracie. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you train with Gracie Barra a little bit before, or no? Or just always been Carlos?
No, no, I jumped straight into Carlos and Gracie when I started.
Yeah, it's also a big name. Um, just iconic team, iconic people, and I consider Gracie Baja. And people say, "Oh, it's a cult," but I don't see no cult, nothing cultish about it. Every team is a cult in their own way. You know what I'm saying? So, um, um, I mean, carrying the shield, the red shield on me is epic, especially getting it from the hands. I would say getting it from the hands of the son of the founder of Jiu-Jitsu, right? Right? It was
Yeah, that's crazy.
Helio Gracie and Carlos Gracie. They went different direction. So, and I got this belt from. I have a picture of Carlos Gracie and Tusa both handing me that belt, putting it on me, and so like I could never even in 1,000 years. So when I started my journey, I already knew I was going to be a black belt. I fell in love so much in the sport. I knew I was going to be a black belt. But
Hmm.
to say that it would be given to me from somebody like Carlos Gracie Jr. is just surreal. So it's how many people can say that they have a belt from a red belt from the
Yeah.
direct lineage, right? It's Carlos Gracie, it's Helio Gracie, Carlos Gracie Jr. Boom, here's the belt. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy. All
And
right, well, I'll jump into some rapid fire questions because I want to respect your time. I know
thank you.
um at the beginning of our conversation. So I'll jump into rapid fire questions. These are just 10 quick questions. They're fun questions. So
Fun.
the first one is, what is your favorite submission?
My favorite submission is a straight arm bar from knee on belly.
Okay, okay.
When you go,
All right.
like, yeah, straight arm bar. That's my
Nice.
belly. Yeah, you scoop the arm, put it here.
Okay, okay. Second one is gi or no gi?
Brother, both. I 50-50 love for both. I always train both. Each
Okay.
one, each gi and no gi brings their own unique things, and one is more raw, and other feels like you put that shield on, like it's your like armor, right? Like you feel like a samurai when you put the gi on,
Yeah.
and then just absolutely equally in love with both.
Okay. All right. Number three. The toughest training session you ever had, was it either in Sambo or Jiu-Jitsu?
Brother, so many, man. The toughest one was Habib when we're backstage getting ready for Pat Healy. That's Habib, man, like getting ready for a fight, and when the guy, I mean, bro, okay, I can't name one. I mean, all of them are top, right? Those are the top athletes in the world. I can't name all of them. I mean, I've rolled
Okay.
with John Jones. I've rolled with
Beast.
Alistair Overeem. I mean, I would say Alistair Overeem probably was the toughest because I'm 180 pounds and that guy's 265 pounds. He wanted to kill me. He's very rough the way he
Oh
grapples.
man, that's a big dude.
Yeah.
Okay. One fighter that you'd love to train with that you haven't trained with yet.
That I would love to train with. Fyodor Emelianenko. I met him in person, but never trained with him.
Okay.
But that's an icon. I mean, an icon of all icons, right? So, and Mike Tyson. If I saw Mike Tyson, I'd probably like faint. I'd be
Ooh,
like,
okay. That's a
because I
good
grew
one.
up, I grew up watching this. Like I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's like it was special.
Tyson was a different beast.
Yeah,
All right. Number five, most underrated skill in MMA. What is it?
underrated skill. What does it mean? What do you mean like underrated for my English? It's like what
So one
in what skill?
that people don't see as very popular, but it's very useful and very productive.
Um, Which skill? Honest to God, judo. Straight up no-gi judo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know like a lot of fighters and like that are coming from striking arts. They like we had Clarissa Shields, right? The Olympic gold medalist. You know, she went to MMA. You know the story, right? With Clarissa Shields and
Yes.
stuff. She came to Albuquerque again. We brought another Olympic gold medalist to New
Yeah.
Mexico, and she hated grappling. That's why I was just like she did 2 fights, 2 or 3 fights, whatever, and she just bounced out. She hated it, you know. So but for MMA, if people are really focused on it, like if you're not coming from a wrestling background, I believe judo is amazing. And I think it's a little bit easier to pick up than raw wrestling. Like if you haven't wrestled from young age, judo is a lot more effortless if you understand the mechanics of it because you use the person's momentum, right? The way I always grappled and everything, I mostly beat people on when they attacked me or when
Yeah.
they wrestled me. I gave them the leg, right? I gave him because the trips are always there, the throws are always there, and the trips are effortless. It's a momentum. Like once you train it enough, I don't even know how to explain. When you train it enough, like things just click. You know, like you see their balance, small little whoop, you know, and a boom on their ass, right? So like
Yeah.
why be physically, you know, like meat being a meathead kind of going, you know, when judo is just like, you know, and that I believe very underrated because not a lot of people train judo. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
oh, wrestling for MMA, stuff like that. Judo.
Okay. Good answer. Next one is what is your go-to post-training meal?
Well, I have I do protein shake right away after. I mean, I do protein shake, man, like a very clean protein with almond milk. But when I get home, I don't have anything specific, like just you know. But right away, I always have to have a protein shake because by the time you get home and everything, so at least my muscles recover and stuff, um, things like that. Protein shake.
Okay. Protein shake, simple enough. All right, number seven. If you weren't doing MMA or if you weren't in the MMA field, what would you be doing?
Something entertainment, man. Like you can, if I could, movies or something like some badass like something like I believe a life needs to have a major like fun to it, or like I mean, there's so many things, man. Like I envy successful people. I read a lot and I watch like School of Hard Knocks, like when they interview billionaires and they interview millionaires and how they lived. Like I I'll definitely want to be in some sort of business or something where like I am my boss as much as I can be. You know what I'm saying? Like not any particular field, but but I just don't know, man. Like fighting is fight. Just there's nothing else I would rather do, honestly. Like there's nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's,
Okay. Number eight, striking, wrestling, or grappling. What's your first love?
grappling.
Grappling. All right.
It
Number
just
nine.
messed up my body, bro, man. I'm just,
Yeah, no. Years of martial arts, I'm sure. Yeah, it does take a toll.
yeah.
Number nine is what is your favorite place that you've traveled to for MMA?
My favorite place. Oh man, anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
In America, I've been all over the place. There's a lot of great places, obviously, but what stood out a lot, I don't know, I've been Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Mm,
Paulo, Brazil. When I went there, it actually was a pretty cool culture shock. Like I roamed
okay.
because I remember I stood out because UFC told us like, hey, do not go anywhere around. Like only you can only go around the block or like I don't even remember. They said not even go around the block. They said like, hey, don't go this way, don't go there. It's so dangerous. Blah blah blah. I roamed the streets by myself all night. And it was the most friendliest, nicest place with the most beautiful people I've ever met.
Yeah.
So, and that's why it stood out to me because we went partying after a fight, and then the party goes on, right? And just like so many people, and it was weekend. I was like, Everybody was so nice to me, man. I'm like, what the hell is all the fuss about? I'm sure they have bad places like favelas, but I
Yeah.
really, really like Sao Paulo.
Okay. Cool, cool. And the last question here is what's one word that describes the Jackson Wink culture?
Um, One word that describes Jackson and Co. Hard to fire off on the spot with that one. There's so many. Uh, Obsession, I would say.
Okay,
Obsession. If you had to pick one word, we're like obsessed with what we do.
that's
You
good.
can't be.
What's up, everybody? This podcast is brought to you and sponsored by the Rock Family Therapy. Not every battle is fought in combat. Some are fought in silence, in your head, in your home, or behind the mask you wear every day. At the Rock Family Therapy, they stand with those who fight to rise again. Veterans, first responders, parents, or anyone carrying the weight of trauma, loss, or stress. This isn't just talk therapy. It's rebuilding from the inside out. It's mental conditioning for life, a place to reset, refocus, and rise stronger, whether your uniform is military, professional, or just the armor you put on to make it through the day. If you're ready to face what's been holding you back, they're ready for you. Call or text 505 336 0238 or email r.villy at therockfamilytherapy.com or visit therockfamilytherapy.com because warriors come in many forms and every warrior needs a rock. What's up, everybody? This podcast is sponsored and brought to you by Toehold. As you know, I've been a long-time customer and supporter of Toehold. I'll give you 3 reasons why I love this company. One is because they're huge supporters of veterans, law enforcement, and first responders. Second reason is because everything is American-made with integrity as it should be. And third reason is because they have the best customer service that you'll ever receive with timely responses. Now, their main focus is flip-flops that'll last you a lifetime, but they also sell caps, shirts, rash guards, wallets, you name it. One of my favorite ethically sourced exotic leathers here is Murder Hippo flip-flops. We got stingray, elephant, crocodile, and if you don't want an exotic leather, you got different options on vegetable tan leather with stamps and colors. And going to the wallets here, we got zebra, we got stingray, we got John Wayne style minimalist wallet, and then going to the key fobs. So guys, go show your support. You have so many options with different exotic leathers. Go show your support for AG and Toehold. Tell them I sent you. Thank you. Peace out.
All right, cool, bro. So that was my last question. Like I said, I respect your time, and I know you got other things going on in life. You're a very busy guy. So before we wrap it up, is there anything that you want to say or mention on the podcast that we didn't talk about?
Just come check out the gym. You in Rio Rancho, right? So,
Yes.
have you been at the gym before?
I've had a couple of people who train there. I got so I'm in the National Guard, and I have a guy,
Yes,
Jacob
sir.
Snow Ink. He trains there too. So I've been to
Yeah.
the gym a few times. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Last fight is I got the Jacob that last fight at the APFC.
oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just
we
if you
served
ever want to
together.
come train, the door's always open. We can work out some special for you, man. You know, if you like interview guys, just let me know. And have a lot of guys that could use, media skills and get experience with interviews and just come grapple with us. Like train with Greg Jackson's. What belt are you?
I'm a purple belt right now.
Very good, very good. So that's good enough skill to help out the guys. What weight are you?
I for Worlds, I just did 188. I jumped up to 188, but I usually grapple at
Okay.
175.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay, so you looking
Yeah,
at
I'm up there.
yeah, okay. I'm 46, so I always ask is like basic questions that everybody asks, like, hey, what's your martial arts experience? How old are you? Like to see, like, you too old enough to fight, or is your career can your career go anywhere? Like, what's your goal? But we have a
Yeah.
lot of fighters come in and train just to help out the pro fighters and coach and help. And if
Yeah.
you ever interested to get some rounds or you learn some striking, we have excellent. We have actually very many programs now. We started a new program. It's going to be called JW's Jiu Jitsu Judo Fusion.
Okay.
We brought in a very, very good judo instructor. judo in New Mexico is virtually non-existent. He's actually on the board of Judo Federation for New Mexico, so he's able to promote. He's a fourth Dan. So we're going to combine jiu-jitsu and judo for competition and teach kids as well. We have phenomenal kids wrestling program. We have beginner MMA program. We have kids MMA pro, teens MMA program, wrestling. We're already one of the best teams in New Mexico for junior wrestling. So a lot of stuff going on. Private sessions if you want to learn some other skills and get more well-rounded. And I don't know if you have any striking experience. We have some amazing instructors that can work with you one-on-one. I can make a special deal, brother, if you want to come in and learn. Because a lot of grapplers or whatever from different martial arts background come to learn different things so they can become more well-rounded, you know. Because as you know, in jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of guard pulling going on, which I hate. Never been that guy. It's not to discourage anyone from pulling guard, but I was like, hey, if you can't take somebody down, how are you going to submit them? That's my philosophy, Ben, for as long as I've been training. That's why I put a lot of emphasis on stand-up fighting instead of, you know, like you're not going to drop on your ass, right? Like in a fight. I always trained with the theory of I'm always training for self-defense, especially me being older. So, and that's the last thing I want to do is be in my ass with somebody on top of me. So, yeah, for sports jiu-jitsu, it's excellent, great. There's some guard pullers, and if you catch specific goal to pass guard, like Tusa, or I had my friend Amadeo, like black belts, it's just unpassable guards, you know. But they're very well-rounded, right? But in sport jiu-jitsu is different, you know how it is. But you got to be well-rounded. So if you want to learn judo, we have now a phenomenal judo instructor.
All right. Is there any shout-outs that you want to throw out there or any plugs or anything like that?
Just New Mexico, support your freaking talent, man. It's like New Mexico.
Yeah.
Where are you at? You know what I'm saying? Like, you all like to watch fights and brag about how you saw Holly Holm or you met Holly Holm. What about all the other fighters, you know? Just whoever hears it, or even if it's one person that can make a difference, you know, because we're always looking for sponsors and partners and different media opportunities because it's just a way of survival for our young up-and-coming talent. Not even for us, you know, the gym is going to do well no matter regardless, you know, it just the fighters individually need help and hopefully there are companies out there that can support the fighters. I always kind of say like, hey, build yourself a gladiator, like a racehorse, you know, like there's a lot of rich people out there that love extreme sports and everybody watches fighting. Everybody can relate to fighting, right? Everybody loves UFC different fights and boxing and stuff like that. So you got an army, a stable of hungry young fighters that are waiting to be discovered under our roof. So you can literally sponsor a fighter, like you take a racehorse, you know, you take care of her, right? You breed her, you bathe her, you make sure they eat well, right? They sleep well, they have all the best conditions to become the prize horse, right? So you can do the same thing with a fighter. And then to say like, hey, I built this guy. It's a gladiator business. I took a guy from the bottom, I saw potential in him, invested in him, and grew him into a championship caliber fighter. That's what, if I had gazillions of dollars, you know, that's what I would be doing, honestly. So,
All right. And last but not least, where can the audience find you on like social media or reach out to you if they need to reach out to you?
The best way is Jackson Wink everything. So all the roads lead to through Jackson Wink. I mean, my Instagram is MadRussian29, but I prefer people that are interested to train or whatever. Contact me through our official channels like JacksonWink.com, being the main website, and then Instagram. You know, it's easy to find us. Just go to our website.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's all I have for you today. Again, thank you for the opportunity. I'm really, really grateful that you accepted my invitation to this. And
I'll keep you in touch with you.
Yeah.
And until next time, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Small Talk on the Mats, and we'll see you guys later. Peace
Yeah.
out.
Hopefully see you at the gym. See you.
Yeah, see ya.